Now let me be direct and ask you about yourself. If you were to find yourself in such a situation, would you disobey the minister? If the minister were to give you an instruction that strays onto operational or managerial matters, would you, General Masemola, say to the minister, I am not going to obey that?
Yeah, it depends, Commissioner, but yes, I will. It's a matter that is career limited, but
it depends on what?
It depends on how he does it.
It's simple. It's
yes.
Simple. You have said operational and managerial matters are within your remit and not the minister's.
Yes.
So I am saying categorically to you that in what I posit to you, the instruction would be falling outside of the minister's remit and be straying onto operational and managerial matters. It's that clear.
Yeah, no.
Would you, General Masemola, tell the minister, I am not going to obey that?
Yeah, no, I will tell him that I won't do it. But as I said, it depends. So he must explain why he's doing certain things.
So if he explains himself, would you then obey, even if the instruction still strayed beyond the minister's powers and strayed onto your powers and functions? Yeah, I want to understand that depends. So if the minister explained him or herself satisfactorily to you, would you then say, Minister, even though you are encroaching onto my area of function, I will obey you. You are acting unlawfully. You are not acting in accordance with Section 207(2) of the Constitution, but because you have explained satisfactorily to me, I'm going to obey you. Would you say that?
Well, if he explains and I find the reasons acceptable, then I will. But if I find them not acceptable, then I will not comply with that instruction.
Explain yourself.
Thanks, Commissioner. My understanding is that the minister is responsible to issue a national policing policy. In other words, that is the direction in terms of what are the priorities that we need to do as the police. For example, there could be priorities about, let's say, gangsterism or cash in transit that is troubling the country. That is a strategic direction that we need to deal with that. But the how part of it, how many resources are going to use, of course, I will inform the minister as to what resources are going to use. But the how part of it, it is, according to me, is an operational matter where I will decide how many resources in terms of personnel, vehicles, and how are we going to do this job. I don't expect the minister to say, get involved into the how part of it in terms of executing the functions. But I expect that he can identify the priority. Yes, he can talk to in terms of what he thinks. There is no problem even if he can say how he thinks the how part, but not that he get involved in to say, do it in the following manner. So in this case, my issue is, for example, in this case of the political killings task team, it is a task team that is working at a lower level under a provincial commissioner. If ever he found anything wrong with the task team, he could say, that task team, I think you need to disband it, and we can engage in the terms of the why and how and so on. But to go further to say disband, but then after saying disband, then you go further to say now, not even tomorrow. I think that is totally encroachment into the mandate of the National Commissioner in terms of performance of my duty. The operational command of within the PKTT was structured to ensure clear lines of authority and effective coordination of activities. This was achieved by organizing the command through tactical joint operation centers, commanders, and the respective zone or unit leads. These leaders were responsible for managing operations within their designated areas and ensuring that actions were aligned with the overall objective of the PKTT. Oversight of the PKTT's activities was provided by the National Steering Committee, which comprised of senior officials from relevant law enforcement agencies, as well as representatives from, no, not from IMC. It was only the relevant officials from law enforcement agencies. The committee convened regularly to assess progress, address challenges, and ensure that the team's effort remain focused on its defined mandate.
And if I can just summarize, 74 and 75 deal with the operational model which you've